It was 4:47 a.m. The world outside was pitch black, and the only sound was the low hum of a refrigerator in a small kitchen. Martin sat at his desk, shoulders stiff, eyes red from lack of sleep. A single post-it stuck to his laptop screen. It read, "No 0 days." That was it, just those 3 words. But somehow, they held the power to get him out of bed when the alarm rang and every part of his body screamed to stay under the covers. There's a quiet kind of power in deciding to show up for yourself. Not once, not just today, but again and again and again, especially when no one's watching. That's what Martin discovered the hard way. Years ago, he wasn't disciplined. He struggled, like the rest of us, with distractions, comfort cravings, and that voice in his head whispering, "It's okay, you can start tomorrow." Hello, I am Alloy, and welcome to Audiofybooks, where you will find excellent audio summaries of books in a very easy and interesting way. If you want to learn from new books, do subscribe to the channel. Let's get started with today's book. Martin Meadows' How to Be Disciplined isn't some cold manual filled with corporate lingo or robotic habit trackers. It's raw, it's real, and it tells the story we all live. The war between who we are and who we want to be. And it begins with one uncomfortable truth. Discipline is not about talent or motivation. It's about emotional control. You don't fail because you're lazy. You fail because your emotions get the upper hand. Imagine you come home after a long day. You're exhausted. You open your fridge, grab that leftover cake, and collapse on the couch with Netflix glowing on your face. That moment, the cake, the couch, the screen, that's not a failure of logic. It's a failure of emotion regulation. Your body wants relief. And discipline, as Meadows teaches, is the decision to delay that relief in favor of long-term alignment. One of the most powerful chapters in this book walks through the idea that you must stop negotiating with yourself. You don't need to think about whether or not to go to the gym. You go. You don't debate whether to write your business plan today. You write. Every time you start negotiating, maybe later, let me just check Instagram first, you lose a little more ground. Meadows uses the analogy of a courtroom. When your goals are on trial and your emotions are the lawyers, guess who wins without evidence? The emotion. Every time, unless you interrupt the case. So how do we interrupt it? The answer lies in systems. Most of us rely on willpower. Big mistake. Willpower is like a phone battery. It runs out faster than you think. Discipline is a skill, but it needs to be automated with systems. Meadows introduces a strategy he calls the discipline loop. Trigger, action, reward. It sounds simple, but it's not. Let's break it down with an example. Trigger. You feel bored. Action. You scroll TikTok. Reward. You laugh. Dopamine hits. Stress. Lowers. Now reverse engineer it. Trigger. You feel bored. Action. You open your language app and practice for 5 minutes. Reward. You feel progress. Dopamine still hits. But now, it's productive. This rewiring takes time. But the good news? Your brain loves shortcuts. It wants to build habits. It's lazy, in a good way. Meadows emphasizes that the key is not fighting your brain, but tricking it. Use visual cues. Set timers. Make the healthy choice the easy one. Want to read more books? Keep one on your pillow. Want to cut sugar? Don't keep it in the house. Sounds basic, but these tiny tweaks create massive momentum. The emotional punch of the book comes when Meadows reveals his own vulnerabilities. He talks about failing again and again, about setting goals and then ghosting them, until one day he realized something chilling. The life he wanted wouldn't magically appear. It had to be earned in the moments when no one claps, when no progress is visible, when the reward is just knowing You did what you said you'd do. He shares the story of training for a marathon, not because he loved running. He hated it, but because the training required daily discomfort. Rainy mornings, sore knees, no applause, just relentless commitment. That's discipline. Not a one-time burst of motivation, but a decision repeated until it becomes your new default. One surprising insight in the book is how Meadows describes energy management. Most people think discipline is about doing more, but often it's about doing less, strategically. Don't flood your day with 50 decisions. Reserve your energy for what matters. This is why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit daily. Why elite performers automate breakfast, workouts, and bedtime. The less you think, the more you act. He gives the example of a CEO who wakes up and does the same routine every day. Stretch, water, meditate, no phone. Then deep work for 90 minutes. Why? Because that routine protects her mental clarity. That's what discipline looks like when it's fully matured, not rigid, but graceful, not punishing, but freeing. Another gem is how Meadows tackles the fear of failure. So many of us avoid hard things because we're afraid of not being good. But he flips the script. What if you're not afraid of failure, but of growth? Because growth means shedding your identity. It means letting go of being the person who tries but never follows through. Discipline forces you to become someone new, and that's terrifying. One chapter dives deep into the power of identity. If you keep telling yourself, "I'm just not a disciplined person," guess what? Your brain makes that your truth. But the moment you act differently, even a little, you rewrite the script. Start saying, "I'm becoming someone who follows through." Language matters. Identity is built, not found. He suggests this powerful exercise. Each morning, write one sentence. The type of person I want to be is. And then list one action that supports that identity. Do it for 30 days. Watch what happens. Meadows ends the book with a moving message. You are not broken. You're not doomed to fail. You're not less than others. You're just undisciplined right now, and that can change. It's not about punishing yourself into progress. It's about honoring the part of you that dreams of more. Discipline, in the end, is an act of love. You get up early, not because you hate rest, but because your dreams deserve sunrise effort. You skip the junk food, not because you dislike pleasure, but because your body deserves energy. You say no to distractions, not because you're boring, but because your future deserves attention. The last page leaves you with this mantra: live deliberately. That's what discipline is all about. Not just existing, but choosing, over and over, until your life reflects your values. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Today, no 0 days.